Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I honestly never thought that I was going to ever end up filming this video. I just never thought I was going to give it the time of day again. I always just told myself after the situation was over, I was just kind of like leave it where it was. But the Gabby Show did a video the other day and it inspired me to talk about my toxic relationship. I know that you guys know that for a while, like last year around like fall time, like winter into the beginning of this year, I was not posting on the internet. I was just kind of MIA, and I know that a lot of you were kind of confused as to like what was going on, like what's wrong, like why aren't you posting? Are you just over it? Like, are you closing like your YouTube channel? Are you done? But I just was not ready then to really talk about what was going on and like what happened in my life at that point. And it's gonna be long, so if you guys don't like long videos or you guys don't really want to hear about this, that's okay. If you guys are subscribed for transgendered videos, I have a bunch of those. If you guys are subscribed for makeup videos, I have a bunch of those. But I felt like I really needed to like take the time to use my platform and talk about this because I feel like it's starting a conversation, because I know that the Gabby Show isn't the only person who dealt with this. I know that I'm not the only person who dealt with this, so I feel like it's important to talk about it. I just want to share like my story and just kind of let you guys know like what I went through. But before I do that, if you guys have not subscribed or you guys are new to my channel, because this is a video that I never normally film, definitely click that subscribe button and hit that bell notification so you guys know when I upload. I know that YouTube has changed its algorithm and a lot of people aren't seeing when people are uploading and stuff like that. So if you guys want to know when I'm uploading, just click the bell button down there and you guys will be notified and all that. So I'm not going to use his real name. I'm just not going to drag him through the mud. Like, I don't even care anymore about it. I have no emotion to it anymore, which is good. Like, that means that I'm like at a place that's like good. So we're going to call him Travis. We'll just give him that name, Travis. So I was on vacation and I was not new to the online dating scene. I'd been kind of just like on Tinder and like Plenty of Fish, just cause like I don't know if I was really honestly looking for like a serious relationship. I mean, it's a dating app. Like, people are there for like hookups and stuff like that. That's not me, but like that's what people are pretty much there for. I had just been like scrolling through or whatever, and I had seen Travis's like message. It was like one of the last messages, like one of the most recent ones that I'd gotten. So I was like, oh, like I was like, he's cute. Like, let me just click on it. I had 3 previous messages or 2 previous messages before that I had not seen. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like there was like, I was in a new area. So it was like, there was a lot of people, whatever. So I had not seen his messages, and he had kind of just like, the first 2 were pretty normal. And the third one was kind of just like, not begging for me to answer, but kind of just like a give me a chance thing. And I was like, okay, let me just see what he's all about. So I scrolled through his profile, I like read everything, and I was like, wow. And his profile like said something about like looking for like something serious, something about like souls colliding or some bullshit. I was like, oh my god, like maybe like this guy is gonna be like something good, you know, like maybe he can hold like an intellectual conversation and like not talk about his like genitals in the first 5 minutes. Like, I was like, okay, that's perfect. It was very short like conversation on the app, and then we had exchanged numbers, and then like we exchanged Snapchats and all that. So mind you, he fully knows. So on my dating apps, I always had like me being transgender, like I always had that like there. Like, I never wanted someone to be like surprised by it. I never wanted it to be something that like I had to bring up later in conversation. Like, I wanted them to know before they messaged me like what the situation was, so it just helped me kind of weed out like all the people that like weren't interested. That night was the first time that we had FaceTimed, and mind you, we had FaceTimed for about, I want to say like 5 hours. It was like 8 o'clock at night to like 2 in the morning. The connection that we had like was kind of instant. It was just like we had so much in common. Like, we had common ground on a lot of things, and that was kind of rare, I felt like, because I'd been on a bunch of dates and I had never really had like enough connection to like actually keep a conversation like continuously going. We had FaceTime that night for 5 hours, and then I like went to bed, and the next day was like our last day like at my grandparents'. I had went to dinner with my whole family. So we were at dinner and we're kind of like waiting to be seated, and me and him were just like texting back and forth, and this should have been a red flag to me like in the beginning, but like it wasn't. So we had only been talking for about, I don't know, maybe like a couple of days. And he had told me that he was deleting his like dating app. He like didn't need it anymore. He like sent me screenshots from his phone showing me his app was deleted. So I was like, oh, like okay, like, and me being as dumb and naive as I was, wanting to like fall in love and like get married and have babies, like I was just like, oh my god, like this could be good, like I'll just delete mine too. Like, I mean, we can both just kind of be exclusive, like not like boyfriend, girlfriend, but we can just like not have to worry about like each other like texting a bunch of other people. He had shown me he deleted his and I was like, okay, like whatever, like I'll go ahead and delete mine, like I don't really care. So I like went ahead and deleted mine and like sent screenshots to him that like they had been deleted. He never asked, but like he kind of just like sent me pictures of like proof to like insinuate it. I don't know, I'm reading too much into it. Oh, whatever, I really didn't honestly think anything of it. We went to dinner that night and then we went home and then I FaceTimed him from like 9 o'clock at night till the time we left the next day, which was 5 in the morning. So it was like literally 8 hours straight, like up all night talking to him just about everything. And I think that's why I had kind of gotten attachment so fast, which is partially my fault. Like there takes two to tango. At this point we planned to meet that next day. So he is about an hour and 40 minutes away from where I live. So he was like, okay, I'm gonna drive down to you, like let me know what time, like about what time you're gonna like get in, and I'm gonna like leave here and then we'll like meet. So I was like really excited. So mind you, we were driving 14 hours from South Carolina all the way back to New York. And I was like, oh my god, this is perfect. Like I'm gonna meet him tonight. Like I'm excited. Like I've been talking to this guy for the last couple of days. I mean like nonstop, like continuous conversation. Like I mean, we literally FaceTime for like 14 hours in 2 days. Like that's a lot of time. I feel like that's like more time than most like newly couples like spend together in the first like couple of weeks / month. You know, I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but we had met and I ended up staying the night with him. We honestly just did exactly what we did over FaceTime. Like we just talked, kind of got a little bit deeper. Like I kind of like told him more about me, like kind of like my insecurities. I left him the next morning and he went back home. So after that, like we had FaceTimed every single day for hours. I would get out of work. I would neglect all of my social media stuff. I was like, I don't even care. Like I want to talk to him. Like who cares about filming? Like I don't care. And I'm just gonna mention this now and it will be brought up later, but he hated that I did YouTube. He told me that he wishes I never did it. He was like, I don't know why you ever started that. He was like, I like if it was a perfect world, he was like, I would have you never do YouTube. So in like my head, like that kind of was like, oh, like whatever, he doesn't want me to do YouTube, so like I don't need to do YouTube. We were meeting up that weekend for his birthday. So he had mentioned something while we were FaceTiming and I was like, oh my god, perfect. Like I'm like that romantic type. Like I will just like listen and like buy things for someone, like if I hear them talking about it and just kind of surprise them. I've always been like that. I've always been like a hopeless romantic. So we had met like really early on that like Saturday. We were driving around like listening to music, just talking. Like I would always like catch him like staring at me. I would be driving and like I would just kind of look over and he would kind of like quickly turn his head like looking away from me and I was like, oh my god, how romantic is that? Just like these little things that I noticed, I was like kept making me like fall harder for him, which I don't know if it was honestly the ploy the whole entire time. And then we checked into like our hotel and we like started like drinking, like pre-gaming. Okay, so this next part is important. Like this next part is probably like the pivotal point of it all. We both had gotten like fairly drunk. We drank like a whole bottle of Svedka in like an hour span, so like that's a lot. Earlier in the week, okay, I'm like missing parts. So earlier in the week, he had told me that he talked to his mom about something and like she didn't support his decisions. So I had no idea like what like he was talking about at the time. Like I had no idea what the context was because he didn't give me the context. So that night we were like talking and I was like drunk and I was just telling him like how I felt about him and he was telling me how he felt about me, and then he like told me that his mom didn't approve of him dating a transgender person because she's like very religious or whatever. So I was like, oh great. After that point is when everything went south. So I was like I cried because I was like so like upset about it all. I was drunk and I was messed. But then that day was Sunday. We talked in my car for like literally 4 hours. I know that you guys were probably like, damn, you guys were so uneventful, but all we did was pretty much talk and get to know each other. So Monday we got into a huge fight. We were just arguing about it all. He was telling me how he now all of a sudden he has no time for a relationship. He doesn't want a relationship. And I was like, wow. I mean, we had like a couple like really good weeks together, and then we had made plans for like the future. Like we had made like 3-week out plans. Like each week we had something planned to do. So the next day he flipped his switch. So this is when I started to to know that something like wasn't right, I was like, okay, what is happening? So the next day, he was completely like normal. I like went to dinner that day with my friend, and my friend Sean can even like tell you all of this because like I kind of explained everything to him. So I went to dinner with my gay friend Sean, and we were at Applebee's or whatever, and Travis calls me. I almost said his real name. Travis calls me on the phone and is just like shooting the shit with me, like nothing, like asking me about what my favorite pizza is. This is so irrelevant. Like, we just got into a huge fight the night before, and like now you're calling me to ask me like what my favorite pizza is. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I was like, well, I'm at dinner with my friend Sean, like I'll just like call you when I leave. As soon as I get into my car, my phone rings and it's Travis again. And this is the first thing he says. I was like, oh, I was just about to call you. I like just got done with dinner. And he was like, oh, were you gonna call me because you missed me, or were you gonna call me because you love me? And I was like, what? Like, why would you like say that? Especially because like the night before you're telling me about how you have no time for a relationship and like we aren't gonna date, like it's just gonna like be a whatever. In my head, like that kind of was a red flag, but then again, I was still like telling myself, like I was making excuses for him in my head of like why he was acting the way that he was. You guys know, it is no secret here on my channel that I am excited to be a mom one day. It is just, it's something that I like love and I cannot wait for. He knew that also, and he knew my insecurity of not being able to have my own babies. That will come in later on also. So I went home that night and me and him had FaceTimed, and then he started talking about babies, and he started talking about like what he wanted to like name his children. And now mind you, we had talked about kids previously. I know you guys are probably like, wow, you jumped into it real fast, but we are like talking about like children just because I told him about my insecurity of not being able to have babies and like just kind of what I wanted and how I wanted like 2 kids and stuff like that, like a boy and a girl. And he had originally told me that he wanted 1 kid. Now he had switched up and he was talking to me and he was like, oh yeah, like I want a boy and a girl. Which I was like, okay. I didn't understand why we were talking about it. I was like, we're literally like, you just told me yesterday that you don't want a relationship, you're not ready for it, you just can't do it, so why are we talking about like kids and stuff? Like, doesn't make sense. And then comes the next day. So the next day would be Wednesday, and again it was the flip of the switch. He was texting me saying that like he has no time for a relationship, because I jokingly, he told me he was like at the gym or something, and I was like, oh, trying to get buff for all the girls, and he was like, I have no time for a relationship. He was like, I'm just trying to like, I don't know, impress my whoever other people, I don't know, I don't even care. But then we call each other on the phone that night and we get into another argument. Somebody hangs up on somebody. I don't know who, but somebody hangs up on somebody. So he had called me like in the middle of the night. It was like 1 o'clock, and like left me a message and was just like, I was just calling you to see if you were gonna answer. Just like stuff like that. And I'm like, it's 1 o'clock, like I'm sleeping. Like, no, of course I'm not gonna answer. I told him that he needed to like give me space, and he needed space to just figure shit out. Like, just figure out if you wanna be like with me or not, and then like contact me and let me know, but like don't contact me throughout the week. Obviously he didn't listen, and there was no contact. He never texted me or called me, but he would reply to a Snapchat that I posted like in the most random hours of the night and be like 2 something in the morning, and he would reply to my Snapchat with some like short snarky comment, and I would never reply. So we'll skip ahead a week or so. I had made plans with him to go to a hockey game, and I was like, I'm not gonna miss that. Like, I was like, I'm not gonna like sit inside and like not go to this game because we were supposed to go together. I went with my best friend. On my way there, it was like 6 o'clock. He like texted me and he's like, you out partying? And I'm like, it's 6 o'clock on a Friday night. First of all, I'm not like a partier, so I'm not drinking every day of the week. And to like, I was like, what? Like, obviously I'm not partying. So at this point, like I was like really dwindling, like my mentality. Like, I was just starting to be all over the place. Like, I was like really emotionally like starting to get fried because my emotions were all over the place. I'm hormonal as it is because of my hormones and stuff like that. But like, this was taking it to an extreme. I answer and I say, no, I'm going to a hockey game. And he was like, what hockey game and with who? So I'm like, again, I'm thinking like, we're not dating, so why are you asking me who I'm going with? So I didn't answer that who I was going with because I didn't feel like I needed to, and he was like accusing me of being with another guy. Obviously I wasn't. I was with my best friend Lex, but like I wasn't gonna tell him that I wasn't with another guy because I didn't owe him that. Like, I didn't owe him to tell him where I was or who I was with because he made it very clear that he wasn't ready for a relationship or didn't have the time or mental capacity or whatever. Then we had a conversation, I think a couple nights after that, about the whole situation, and this is where the kicker comes in. So you guys know that my biggest insecurity is not being able to have like a baby, like physically having a baby. He also knew this because this is one of the first things I told him, like in that little drunk banter weeks prior. He then brings up about how like he loves me but he can't be with me because I can't have my own babies. So as you guys could tell, that like broke me. Like I was so devastated. But here is where it gets even more like crazy, and this is why I like don't believe him like at all. Like I just think he knew what he was doing. Like I think he knew that this was gonna like aggravate me the way that it did and it was gonna break me the way that it did, because then he was like on some bullshit with like pheromones, and he was like telling me that like he was like, do you have like pheromones? I gotta know, like I have to like be with someone who's like pheromones I can smell. I laugh about it now and I'm more calm and cool and collected about it now, but like in my mental headspace then, like it was just breaking me down more and more, just kind of taking away my womanhood, I guess. I had spiraled down into a dark depression, and then we didn't talk for a little bit. Like it was maybe a couple of weeks, and I had joined Plenty of Fish back up just to entertain myself, I guess, just to kind of keep my mind off of it. Also where the kicker is, he was back on there, potentially never left. I don't know if he ever left. I had kind of had this thought afterwards, and I was like, I wonder if he ever even deleted his app. I was just like, he could have like deleted the icon, but then like logged back in like right after he sent me that screenshot. So he was like back on, and then he started texting me again, and he was like, hey. And I didn't answer because I was like, honestly, like I need to go no contact. Like I need to not talk to him, because I was already going through it enough, because all I wanted to do was talk to him and be with him, but I was like, I have to like get over this. I don't want to make it seem like I was like, oh my god, I was nonchalant, I didn't care. Like I wanted to talk to him. Like it killed me not to talk to him, because I'd gone from a time where I was FaceTiming him and talking to him on the phone every single day. That's like a routine, and then it's just like cut cold turkey. So he then texted me about the whole Plenty of Fish thing, and he said, hey. And I didn't respond, and he said, okay. And I didn't respond again, and he said, I hope you find someone, or I hope you find your guy in Plenty of Fish or something. And at this point I was just like, I don't really understand. So I had texted him back, and I was like, I don't really understand what you want from me. I was like, you have told me that we can't date, so what am I not allowed to be with anyone else? Like, you're allowed to like be on Plenty of Fish and talk to other girls, I'm assuming, but like I'm not allowed to be on there. Like it didn't make any sense to me. It's happened kind of right before Christmas, I'm gonna say. Like this like Plenty of Fish thing. So we didn't talk for about a week again. And then I texted him because it was coming Christmas time, and we always have a big party at my house. And I felt bad. I was like, he doesn't have family around here, obviously. So I was like, you know, like I'm gonna invite him to come spend Christmas with us. Like I just felt bad, and I really didn't want him to be alone for Christmas, because I still cared about him enough, and I did love him. So I was like, I don't want him to be alone. He like thanked me for the offer and told me that he wasn't gonna come because he just didn't like to be in situations like that. I felt better because I had reached out and I had at least tried. So we had FaceTimed for the last time the day after Christmas. We both just cried. This was like kind of like our goodbye, I guess, which like killed me. Like at this point I was already in a severe depression. I hid it pretty much like from him as much as I could, but I mean I was in a depression. Like all my friends knew. Like this is something I couldn't stop talking about. Like it took over my mental headspace, and like all I did was talk about him and the situation, and I tried to like figure out what went wrong. I like placed blame on myself, and then I started like hating myself, like, oh, I'm the reason it couldn't work out. And I don't know if that's what he wanted. Like I honestly don't really know what his intentions were. I don't know if he honestly even cared about me at all, or if it was just words. Like I don't know. Like I honestly don't know. But we were so toxic together. It was terrible. And I realized that now, looking back on it, like now months later, I'm like, wow, like that was just such a toxic time in my life. But the story continues. So we go no contact for a whole month. So I had reached out about something, which I'm not going to go into detail of, but I had reached out about something, and we had like a brief conversation. I mean, a brief conversation. And then we went no contact for another month. And this is where it got like a little bad. Like not bad, but this is where like I'd really like steeped pretty low, So it was St. Patrick's Day. I had been out drinking all day, and so it was like, I don't know, 6 o'clock at night, and I was like drunk, and we were like in downtown of where like we were out, and they had a food place, so I was with my best friend since I was like a child, and like 2 of her friends. We were like waiting to get seated, and I walk into this bar, and like I don't even remember anything. Like I just remember starting to tear up, and it was about him, and I was like, oh my goodness. Like at the time, like thinking about it, I'm like, oh my god, how embarrassing is that? Like I was like sobbing at this restaurant about him. Like what? I think I'm the one who reached out again. Like I texted him just saying like, hey. The first thing he said was like, oh, how's your boyfriend? I told him like, no, I wasn't in a relationship. And then like a couple hours later, we just start fighting like cats and dogs. So I was at this bar, and like I was like having fun then. Like I was still like upset, but I was having fun, and like he kept calling me. So he called me, and then I would like go outside. We would like fight for a minute. I was drunk, so I like, hung up on him, and then I'd go back inside and like start dancing or whatever, and then like he would call me again, so I'd like go outside and we'd like argue again, and then I'd hang up on him and I'd go inside, and he was just like, I don't understand why you keep hanging up on me. But it was just like we were arguing about stupid stuff, and it was just like he always kept throwing in my face about the whole like pregnancy thing. Like that was the part, like I think he knew the whole time what he was doing, and the only reason I say that is because somebody who knows somebody's biggest insecurity doesn't continuously throw that in their face of why they can't be with them. I had went on a couple dates months and months before him with some guy, and you guys know I made a video about it, and that's like when the guy told me like, oh, like about like having the babies and stuff like that. But like he never like threw it in my face after that, and like kept coming back. Like, so that's why I feel like he knew what he was doing the whole time, and he knew that it would break me, and he knew that it would upset me so much. He wanted to like, I guess in a way, place blame on me for it being my fault that the relationship couldn't work, when in reality it was not my fault at all. Alright, so the night of St. Patrick's Day, I go back to my best friend's house, and I'm still texting him. Like me and him were just texting and stuff, and we had made plans to meet up for the next day. I was like, you know what, I feel like it'd be really good to see him and just have closure, because I think that's the one thing I never got. Like we never had closure because the wound always kind of kept getting reopened. So I was like, you know what, like I need closure. So I was like, it'll be perfect. Like we'll meet up, we'll see each other for one last time, we'll say goodbye, because I had something in my wallet of his that he had given me, and I just wanted to give it back, and I wanted to be done with it. I wanted to get rid of it and be done. Kind of just end it in like the civilest way I possibly could. It has since been thrown in the garbage. We make the plans to meet up the next day, so I text him in the morning. I get up early, so I specifically get my hungover ass up early to go and get ready. So I start getting ready. I text him and I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready to leave. And he texted me and he's like, wait, like don't go, don't leave. And I'm like, why? And he's like, I don't think it's a good idea if we meet. So just starting to like really play the shit again to keep it going, because he knew that I needed that closure, and he didn't want there to be closure. He just wanted to keep like me on the fishing line. So we never ended up meeting that day. So I was mad, like I was mad about it. And so he texted me that night, and he was just playing the victim again, telling me that he had been drunk and he has not been able to stop drinking after our conversations. He was telling me he wanted me to drive out to him at like midnight on a Sunday night, which he knew I couldn't because he knew I had to work the next day. So it was just like he wanted it again to be my fault of why we couldn't hang out or why something didn't work. Like it was, again, the blame was placed on me for me to feel guilty again. Which I feel like thinking about this now, I'm like, this is really, it was like planned out. Like this was not like something where he was like, oh, like I really have to work, or oh, I really have this. Like he's like, oh, I just want to make our life miserable. Then after that, he was like, let's just like not talk. And I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't want that. Like I wanted him in my life somehow because I cared so much for him and I loved him so much that I really, like I thought I did. Like I thought I knew what love was. Like thinking about it now, like I'm gonna guarantee that wasn't love. Like nobody who loves somebody treats them that way. So we went no contact again, and then he called me randomly one night. And it was, first he called me 3 times from a restricted number, and it was the middle of the night. It was like midnight. I had to work the next day. I think it was like a Wednesday. I don't randomly get phone calls in the middle of the night, so I was like not really worried about answering it. So then it was like the 4th time he called, and I like blindly reached over and grabbed my phone and put it up to my ear. You know when you're like half asleep and you're kind of just like, hello? That's like what it was. And he like didn't sound like anyone I knew. Like he was like purposely changing his voice. And then I kind of just like picked my phone forward and I saw his name and I was like, oh no. This was 2 days before a big event in my life. So I was like, oh my God, like this guy has fucking timing. Like, and I think that he watches my videos. And that's like partially a reason why I didn't want to film this, but like at this point, like I just don't care. He had like seen my video about like what like had been going on in my life. I met my now boyfriend at the time, and so he had called me and he had like asked me if I was seeing anyone, and I told him that I was. So he was telling me that he had bad timing and that like he was like gonna be coming around for like to like finally date me after like 6 months. So I like called him out on that. I was like, I have been single for the past, I don't know, 6 months that we've been going through this banter, and like now all of a sudden you have bad timing and you want to like finally come around and be with me. And at that point, like I knew that that was bullshit. Like at this point I was starting to come out of this depression that I was in. Like I was starting to like really kind of see his true colors, and I was like, no, like this is him manipulating me. He's trying to make me feel like bad for being happy. Like he's trying to make me feel bad for being happy, where he is the victim yet again. Like at the end of the conversation he was like, well, he's like, after like I'm done and like I hang up the phone, he's like, I'm like just gonna block your number and delete it. And like he knew that that like wasn't what I wanted to hear, because I had told him in the past that I wanted to stay friends. Like I wanted to know that his life was going good, and I wanted him to know my life was going good, because I cared about him. And caring about someone in a friend aspect, in a relationship aspect, if you truly cared about them, you would want the best for them either way. And I wanted the best for him, and I still do, honestly. Like I don't wish harm on anybody, but like I still wish the best for him, and I hope his life is going great, and I hope that like he's just as happy as I am. Like I really hope that. Like I honestly truly mean that. He had blocked my number after that, and blocked me on every social media you could think of. Not that there honestly really isn't a conclusion to this story. I just wanted to kind of just share that toxic relationship that I was in and how depressed I was. It was so bad. And then I tell my boyfriend all this time that he saved me. Like, he is the best thing that has ever happened to me. Like, me and him, it's gonna be 3 months that we will be together next week, and I'm just like, where has the 3 months gone? Like, it's been crazy. It's been like a very fun and happy 3 months. And as you guys can see, like I'm back on YouTube, and my now boyfriend is so supportive of all of this. He wants me to do this. He was like, if this is what you want, he was like, I want you to do it, but I don't want you to do it if you don't want to. He's like, I support you in whatever you want. I feel like it's taken me till now, not right now, but like it's taken me till the past couple of months to really truly realize like what really went down over those 6 months with him. And how like it wasn't love, and like he probably didn't even care for me, honestly. But I am someone who is like really big-hearted, and I really do care for people, and I've never like fake cared about someone in my life. So I don't know how someone can do that, or like how someone can be cruel enough to do that to another person. I just want you guys to know that you guys will come out of whatever situation you guys are in, and if you guys ever need anything, just reach out to me, leave me a DM. On my Instagram, like email me. My email is always listed below. It's usually for business, but I mean, honestly, if you guys are like really in need of talking to someone, like just go ahead and like reach out. Like I will always be there to talk to you guys. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that really long-winded video. I know that it was maybe pointless to some of you, but I just wanted to kind of share that and get that out like after going through that, and after having like some time to really emotionally step back from the situation, now that my heart isn't in it anymore. I'm in an amazing place now in my life, and I'm glad to be back on YouTube and like in like a good headspace to put out good content for you guys. Don't forget to check out my last video. I will have that linked right there. Don't forget, stay on the channel, have a couple laughs, learn a couple makeup techniques, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye guys.